So I'm a veterinarian. I became a veterinarian because I wanted to help the health and well-being of animals. I'm also a scientist, and I became a scientist because I wasn't satisfied with the status quo. Currently, veterinarians cannot save every animal that they see. They don't have the tools, they don't have the knowledge, and perhaps they never will. But I didn't want to be defeated by the same disease and the same problem and the same injuries over and over again. Like my colleagues at the Center for Veterinary Health Sciences, I wanted to be part of the solution to the problems and limitations of veterinary medicine. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a very brief overview of how I've created a career in animal research that is saving animal lives and also saving human lives. So I'm an exercise physiologist. I love exercise. The sorts of things that enable athletic performance, the things that limit athletic performance, I'm fascinated by this sort of thing. I love studying the way the body allocates resources in order to support exercise. I love to study how the body is adapted through conditioning and training to perform exercise better. And this is an easy thing for me to do for a living. As mentioned, a lot of my work has been on ultra-endurance racing sled dogs. Now, many of you in the audience are familiar with this sport from movies and from the publicity surrounding the annual Iditarod sled dog race. The Iditarod is patterned after a well-known historical event, the 1925 serum run, in which life-saving diphtheria antiserum was relayed by dog team across the state of Alaska in the middle of the winter to Nome in order to save that town from a disease outbreak. To commemorate that, each year, 60 to 80 teams of 16 dogs apiece will start in Anchorage and race to Nome, a distance of about 1,000 miles. They're going to cover that 1,000 miles in around 9 days. Well, I got involved in the Iditarod and the ultra-endurance sled dog racing because I wanted to improve the health and well-being of the canine athletes. Despite the efforts by numerous volunteer veterinarians that each year examine the dogs and care for the dogs before, during, and after the race, it became commonplace for 1 or 2 dogs to die during the race. And sometimes those deaths were unavoidable. We're traveling across the wilderness, and there have been instances where teams have been attacked by the wildlife in the area, and sometimes they don't come out on the winning end of that attack. But too often, the deaths were due to stomach ulcers or something related to stomach ulcers. And so at the request of the race committee and of the mushroom community at large, I led a team of researchers on a program to determine the origin of this and see if we could make it go away. That started in the year 2000. Well, there were a lot of studies conducted, a lot of blood samples drawn, and a lot of dogs anesthetized so that we can look inside their stomach and try to pinpoint the problem. And after 7 years, we were able to prove, in nice, scientifically rigorous studies, a means of preventing this problem. And so, as a result of that, since we released those results to the mushing community, we've had 4 years of not having a single dog die from stomach ulcers. But probably even better than that is that as a result of our better understanding of ultra-endurance exercise, we've had 3 years now of absolutely no dog deaths. This animal research saves animal lives. And I can't tell you how happy that makes me, and as well as all the people. I did not do that alone. That was the effort of a lot of people, and we are very appreciative of your thanks. So it's an interesting way of making a living, and our ability to conduct those studies in such an environment attracted the attention of Department of Defense. Now, Department of Defense is interested in exercise fatigue. It's a major contributor to battlefield casualty. Simply put, a fatigued soldier does not perform their tasks well, but compared to what most of us are used to, in their case, exercise fatigue doesn't result in a dropped pass or a missed free throw. Exercise fatigue can get them killed. And as a result, Department of Defense spends a lot of money investigating the causes and possible remedies for human fatigue. Against that backdrop, we had an invite from DARPA, an agency within Department of Defense that conducts high-risk, high-reward research, to take a different approach. While the mainstream medical community continued to do the work to examine and find remedies for human fatigue, DARPA decided that we were going to reverse engineer a system that already is fatigue resistant, that of the ultra-endurance racing sled dog. Pound for pound, a racing sled dog has 4 times the exercise capacity as the best human athlete, despite using pretty much all the same stuff that we're using. If we can just get a fraction of that additional exercise capacity, can you imagine the kind of impact that we're going to have? Well, one of the first things that we found, and this work is ongoing, is that the key to the dog's fatigue resistance is its adaptability. If y'all go out and exercise at a level that requires you to burn your energy reserves, you're pretty much going to have to slow down or stop. You can't sustain that. It's sort of like trying to drive a car with a clogged fuel filter. It'll idle just fine, but if you try to rev it, it sputters, it stalls, it doesn't go. The dogs are able to start their exercise with a clogged fuel filter and make the necessary changes to unclog it as they run, so that exercise that depleted their energy reserves and caused impending fatigue in just days can render them completely independent of their energy reserves and essentially fatigue-proof. They can do that level of exercise indefinitely. This work has been handed off now from DARPA to the Army Research Office, and we're drilling down on the molecular basis of this so that we can start trying to get the corresponding human systems to do the same thing. When we're successful, our soldiers are going to be able to exercise longer, haul larger loads, and perform their duties under conditions far more extreme than what they currently can do. And in that manner, this research is going to be saving human lives. So how do we get from sled dogs to IEDs? Well, IEDs, improvised explosive devices, are the single most potent weapon against our forces in the current conflicts. At this time, in Afghanistan alone, over 1,300 of our soldiers have been killed by IEDs and thousands wounded. We've always had an interest in being able to find concealed explosives, but the emergence of IEDs as a potent weapon against us has really focused that requirement. So in 2006, the Marine Corps took a unique approach to the problem of IEDs, the IDD, or IED detection dog. This is the first science-based canine program in the military. The military's always had working dogs, but more often than not, these have been combat attack dogs with a little bit of odor detection. In the case of the IDDs, these are hunting dogs, with the main difference being that they hunt explosives instead of pheasant or quail. But otherwise, they operate basically in the same manner. They're off-leash. They're ahead of the patrol. They are free to follow their nose to wherever it leads them. This is the first time that a program, an animal program in the military has employed systematic, original research to develop the selection, the conditioning, and the training of these dogs. And they're very successful. There are two ways of finding an IED: before it goes off or when it goes off. We definitely prefer to find it before it goes off. And nothing will convey the strength of this program and the gratitude, the admiration, the pride, and to a certain degree, the relief that you'll hear in this Marine's voice with respect to an IED that was found by his dog.
Molly found that.
So we've gone from finding a cure to the #1 cause of mortality in racing sled dogs through the basic metabolic strategy that can lead to profound fatigue resistance, and now we're generating the next iteration, the next generation of explosive detection dog. Dogs that can work in the heat of Afghanistan for days and days, cover 20 to 25 miles a day, while not fatiguing, not overheating, being able to find those concealed explosives. The work that we're doing to produce that next generation dog is going to translate to domestic explosive detection dogs, to drug interdiction dogs, to search and rescue dogs. In this manner, this animal research is going to be saving both human and animal lives. So would you like to meet one of those dogs? I want you to welcome to OSU Samson and his handler, Bobby Lane. Now, while they're working in here, I'll tell you a little bit about how Samson works. Samson is trained in 3 different modalities. He can do on-leash, he can do off-leash, and he can do person-borne explosives. We're not going to demo the person-borne explosives right now because we don't want to go through every single person in the audience. If he does take an interest in you, we want to talk to you. But this is a demonstration of the on-leash, and you see one of the biggest keys to this is that for them, this is a game. This is all about the Kong. So on-leash is common in crowded areas or when you have known targets. Off-leash is the way they work in the battlefield. And so you watch, hopefully the monitors will come up. We're going to let Samson wander around in here a little bit and see what he can find. And there's a good boy. Samson's trained on 17 different odors. He's one of the best dogs we can produce. And he can do this, he would love to do this all day long. So give Samson a hand.